A modern business can have dozens of software systems running at the same time. One handles payments, another manages customers, another stores documents, another handles communication, another tracks finances, another analyzes performance. Each system may be excellent at what it does, but there is a problem hiding between them. They don't always speak the same language. Information has to move. Data has to be synchronized. Actions in one system often need to trigger something in another. And when that connection doesn't happen automatically, people step in. They copy information, they export files, they send emails, they move data from one platform to another. It looks like administration, but underneath it is something much more interesting, a growing economic problem waiting for someone to solve it. Software solved one problem and often created another. As businesses adopted specialized tools, operations became more capable, but also more fragmented. A company could now automate marketing, sales, accounting, customer service, logistics, analytics, and internal communication. But every new system added another connection that had to be maintained. This is a recurring pattern in technology. Complexity creates specialization. Specialization creates more systems, and more systems create the need for coordination. The interesting part is that coordination is rarely visible to the customer. Nobody buying a product thinks about the software connections operating behind the business. Yet those connections determine whether information moves smoothly, whether workflows break, and whether employees spend their time creating value or simply moving information around. This is where integration enters the picture. Integration is not necessarily another application competing for the user's attention. It is the layer that allows existing applications to work together. A customer submits information in one system, and another system receives it automatically. A payment is completed, and the accounting system is updated. A new lead enters a database, and a workflow begins. An order is created, inventory changes, and another process is triggered. None of these actions needs to be impressive on its own. The value comes from the connection. And that creates an important shift in how we think about software. Sometimes the opportunity is not to build another system. It is to make the systems people already use work better together. One of the technologies making this possible is the API. In simple terms, an API allows one piece of software to communicate with another without requiring humans to manually move the information. That sounds technical, but the economic consequence is much easier to understand. Software becomes more useful when it can participate in a larger system. A payment platform can connect to an accounting system. A customer database can connect to an email system. An online store can connect to logistics. A business application can connect to artificial intelligence. The individual tools remain separate, but the connections allow them to behave like one larger machine. And whenever enough businesses depend on those connections, integration itself can become infrastructure. Once the connection becomes important enough, another possibility appears. A business can sell the connection itself. Instead of building software that replaces an existing platform, it can help companies connect the platforms they already have. This is attractive because businesses often don't want to replace everything. They want their existing investments to work together. That creates demand for implementation, automation, workflow design, integration, monitoring, and ongoing support. The business opportunity is therefore not necessarily based on creating something completely new. It can come from reducing the friction between things that already exist. And that distinction matters because some of the most durable businesses are built around problems customers already know they have. Before integration became sophisticated, humans often performed the connection manually. Someone exported the report, someone copied the customer information, someone checked whether the payment had arrived, someone updated the spreadsheet, someone sent the notification. None of these tasks may look expensive individually, but inside a growing organization, small repetitions can become enormous amounts of operational work. This is where automation becomes economically interesting. If software can perform the connection reliably, businesses can redirect human effort toward activities that actually require judgment, creativity, relationships, or decision-making. The value of integration, therefore, isn't simply technical efficiency. It is the conversion of invisible operational work into infrastructure. There is a broader economic pattern here. Specialization creates efficiency, but specialization also creates coordination problems. When every company builds everything itself, the architecture remains relatively simple. When companies rely on specialized providers, the architecture becomes more powerful and more complicated at the same time. That complexity creates gaps, and gaps create opportunities. A business can emerge around connecting systems, cleaning data, automating workflows, maintaining integrations, or solving a specific operational problem that large platforms don't fully address. This is one reason digital economies continually produce new service businesses. Every new layer of technology creates new relationships between systems, and every relationship creates the possibility that someone will build a business around managing it. This also changes what the competitive advantage looks like. The code may be replaceable. The deeper knowledge may not be. A strong integration business understands how a customer's operations actually work. It knows which systems matter, how information moves, where failures occur, and what the business needs from its technology. Over time, that knowledge becomes embedded in the relationship. The provider is no longer simply connecting software. It understands the architecture of the business itself. That can create trust, operational dependence, and recurring demand. And once a service becomes part of the infrastructure that keeps a business running, price is no longer the only consideration. Reliability becomes valuable. As digital businesses become more sophisticated, this middle layer becomes increasingly important. Applications sit on top, infrastructure sits underneath, but between them are workflows, APIs, integrations, data pipelines, automation systems, and specialized services that make the entire architecture function. These layers are easy to overlook because customers rarely see them. Yet businesses increasingly depend on them. And that reveals a recurring pattern in digital economics. When a new technology becomes widespread, the most interesting opportunities are not always found in the technology itself. They often appear in everything required to make that technology usable at scale. The visible product gets the attention. The invisible infrastructure often gets the dependency. The next generation of online businesses may not always be built around creating another destination. Some may be built around connecting the destinations that already exist. As businesses adopt more software, digital complexity increases. As complexity increases, coordination becomes more valuable. And as coordination becomes valuable, integration becomes a business in its own right. The opportunity is not simply to connect two applications. It is to understand a problem that exists between systems, remove the friction, and become useful enough that the connection becomes part of the customer's operations. That is the deeper pattern. Every new digital layer creates relationships between systems, and every important relationship creates infrastructure. Sometimes the opportunity isn't inside the application everyone is talking about. It is in the space between them, because when an economy becomes connected enough, the gaps between its systems stop being empty space. They become businesses.
Nixera. Decoding systems. Architecting wealth.